Hey, welcome to this episode of Rough Talk VR. Another week of news. It's not going to be stacked like last week's, marathon hour and 40 minutes with a shoes game at the end.
There'll be more shoes games.
Oh, more in the future. He says his next one is going to be the most challenging, but maybe the most fun. And that makes me incredibly nervous. That means I'm going to get a 2 out of 10 or whatever.
Nervous, yeah, right.
With our luck, though,
Haven't failed really yet. Came close, but
2 ties in a row. Last time, I won in overtime, but overall, our overall score has been a tie both times. How crazy is that? But it's not going to be, that much news like, last week or anything like that either. But we're still going to have a lot of fun. And the big news to kick off the week, to kick off this episode too, is what everybody was talking about last week. It was hyped. It was anticipated. It's not our cup of tea, but it's good to have it out. Roblox, one of the biggest online community of gamers, most of which are kids, which is why it's not our cup of tea. But it's got a huge daily active player base, and they officially launched on early access beta on MetaQuest App Lab. And from everybody that's used it so far, everybody kind of has the same takeaway from it. So much potential. They can definitely see the future of it, but it definitely belongs on App Lab right now. There's some kinks to work around, not jank, but it just needs a lot more polish. But now they have all of this live feedback of players. I'd be curious to know how many people have already gone in it, only on App Lab, not even on the official store. But it's really cool to see them use this, the App Lab service, the App Lab store, in this period as a full-blown beta period.
Well, I can only say we know one of our Discord members has already lost their headset to their child, and it's pretty much a guarantee they're never getting it back.
Luckily,
so
the Quest 3 is coming.
Quest 3 comes out, the better for him, and I feel for him. But if that's any indication, and this is on App Lab, then when they work out the bugs and get it running the way it should, then this is probably going to just crush it on the store.
Yeah, I mean, the reality is we could probably go our whole gaming lives without ever going in Roblox because we're not the market for it. And they're going to have so much success without us in it. They have their market. They have their player base.
There's going to be a bunch of adults playing it. Don't be fooled.
It'll be the adults that don't want to admit it either,
Don't be fooled.
But it's got, like I said, a lot of potential, some kinks to work out, but it's going to bring an audience to VR. Like you said, our Patreon member either that has lost his headset for all intents and purposes.
Rest in peace.
And the rumors have been that Meta is working on an additional headset scheduled to come out after the Quest 3 that's going to be a cheaper model, $250, $300, something like that.
Is that the price you've heard, or are you speculating?
Oh, I've heard even rumors of $199. I just won't say that because I don't believe it'll be that low. That's too good to be true to me, but it's basically going to be a Quest model but Quest Lite is the rumors, and it's to me that's who it's for, is kids like our Discord member that lost his headset. Yeah, just get them the Quest Lite if they're just gonna play Roblox and Rec Room anyway.
How long do you think until you start seeing headsets specifically for kids that have like all the rubber bumpers on it, so if they drop it bounces like they did for
cell phones and tablets?
The tablets was the biggest one. Absolutely.
I wouldn't be surprised if that's how we saw that rumored Quest Lite come out, or maybe an additional add-on protective layer you can buy that's like a padded skin.
How much storage you think you're getting for $199?
Well, that's the thing.
$200?
That's the thing. It'll probably be like 64 gigabyte, something small. But I think it's going to be for those kids that aren't downloading Bone Labs. They're not downloading Resident Evil 4. They're just going in to play, free-to-play content like Roblox,
Gorilla Tag,
Horizon Worlds, lowering their age requirement. What's what Horizon Worlds right now? 13 or I think they lowered it to 10, and it fits.
They lowered to whatever they want. It never mattered.
Yeah,
Pop 1 proved that.
There's always been kids. I heard people
real young too
say, "Oh no, this is opening the floods." The floodgates were opened.
They were open the minute you had a family and brought home a headset. Because you're not going to let your kid try it. Kind of special dad are you?
I'm actually of the belief that content like Roblox and Rec Room actually helps us as adult gamers because it gives a spot for the underage gamers. Like you said, not that there's not adults in those content, like I said, there
Mhm.
will be adults that play uh, Roblox. They play Rec Room. There's nothing bad about that either, but predominantly the market is definitely little kids. And if those apps don't exist, when they put on a headset, then they're gonna go to Pop One. They're gonna go to Contractors, Breachers, Ghost of Tabor, get lit up in Ghost of Tabor. Bring it. Actually, that's the one that I want to see them in easy loot. But if they have apps like Rec Room and Roblox, it keeps them in there for the most part versus flooding and damaging other online communities.
Damaging.
Well, because
You're
they
funny.
they don't damage Rec Room, they don't damage Roblox because that's what they're built for. But yeah, remember last time we played Breachers? We go in, it's a bunch of obnoxious little kids.
Mhm.
Instead of like a mature community, sometimes that can keep other mature gamers away. But if they have the apps that
That's why creating your own server is always important for
those type of
just,
games,
yeah,
yeah.
because you need the ability to be able to control, like Among Us. You know
Well,
what I'm saying? It's like if
th-
you can control who's in your server, then you're golden.
Well, that's something that makes something like Ghost of Tabor so big to us because it has that cooperative element with some player versus element or player versus everyone. And there are real players out there that we're going to encounter, but it doesn't matter the age of them. It doesn't matter the play style, the maturity. Everybody is an enemy. We could even be enemies on the same team if we wanted. We just
I
choose to
don't
play cooperatively.
I don't mind squeakers in Ghost of Tabor because they're going to be loud and you're going to hear them.
Yeah.
So it's like, by all means, if you want to come into the server and I'm in there and I hear you, screaming, yelling, whatever.
Yeah, what Scott called, and I love this term, it's now coined and patented in my brain as the official term for these type of players. What he joked on the first episode of Tabor Radio to be little Timmies.
Little
And
Timmy's.
I
Yeah.
agree with that. So bring on the little Timmies and Ghost of Tabor for my own selfish loot purposes. But other than that, yeah, I say it's great to have something like Roblox because it'll give them a designated hangout zone instead of the apps that I actually love.
Being a little selfish there.
But hey, it's real though.
At least you're being honest. I mean,
If they don't have the content for them though, they're
There's
going
not-
to go play other games.
there's not many games at this point in my head though that like I would be upset about kids in because it's going to be always more of a benefit for me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, certainly I'm not, I'm not a gorilla tag expert.
No.
I don't do Rec Room. So I don't put myself into the games that are, one could quote designate for young folk. But at this point, Breachers was a little challenging. Only
Yeah.
because they were,
Well,
they're on our side. So
The reason I bring that up is I've seen people that go, I struggle with kids in VR multiplayer games enough, and now something like Roblox is gonna, grow that problem. Where I have the opposite mentality. It's like, no, if you don't like kids in VR in your games, you should be happy about Roblox, giving them a home. So it's
giving them somewhere like placing bait.
yeah. I always try to be optimistic. Never try to look on the negative things, and in the end, if it does bring 10 million kids to VR, guess what? The market has now grown. That's good. That's 10 million more headsets sold. That they're going to buy some other games, that's more money for all the developers.
There's going to be so many hand-me-down Quest 2s going to their kids.
Mhm.
It's almost genius that they're doing it in the time that they have because soon enough we're getting the Quest 3. And if you got kids, what are you going to do with your Quest 2? Because you're buying the Quest 3. You're
Well-
probably not going to like sell your Quest 2, so just give it to your kids. But now they have more avenues where they can go and be kids and have fun and
Even for me,
do whatever they got to do.
I get the Quest 3. Now my Quest 2 is going to be like, hey, Kelly, I need your help real quick. Go throw this on,
Mm-hmm.
So
Need a meat
becomes,
shield.
Yeah, now that becomes the secondary or the guest headset. I don't like people throwing on my headset when they come over as much as I did in the beginning.
I don't do that.
I don't need a bunch of people. VR is a very
My
personalized
headset,
thing.
it's like putting on my underwear. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah,
Get
buy your own.
underwear.
Yeah, if you want it that bad, buy it. It's
Go
300
commando
bucks.
and have no headset or buy your own.
Mhm.
That's my selfish mentality with that.
Yeah. But the Quest 2, if I now have my Quest 3, yeah, you come over, throw on the Quest 2. Who cares?
I don't
that's
know what
my-
I'm gonna do with my Quest 2. It's gonna just be
Learn Unity.
collective art.
Learn Unity,
Mhm.
and that'll be your development headset. That's also a plan of mine.
Yeah, that's
Because-
possible.
Because that way I don't need to go from playing with my headset.
Yeah.
I can always have a headset dedicated to development. I've been chipping away on Unity tutorials, and probably about a year of more work, I'll be finally on the VR side of things. And by then, who knows where the industry will be at. But it's a
The
day-to-day
AI,
chip, like a
the AI
pickaxe.
implementation is going to come the same day you're like, I did my final one.
I can already tell I'm learning scripting and like, oh my goodness, it's so much. But I can already tell ChatGPT is going to be a way better scripter than I ever could with
It'll get
C
there.
sharp coding. But day by day, that's only because, I don't have the most confidence in my intellectual capacity to pick up this coding based off of what I've learned so far, but I'll be able to get by, I think. But Roblox, that's huge news for the VR industry, for people that like those type of world builders and stuff. I've seen some videos of, Roblox actually has some pretty, I guess, some potential to build more high-end games. It's just that's not the market of players playing the game, so that tends not be what built. But it'll be interesting to see what comes with this over the next 2 or 3 years. I think it's no coincidence that Meta is working on, rumored, a Quest Lite, that they lowered the age requirement to 10, with a bunch of scientific data to back it up. I think Roblox is kind of part of that master plan there. And then on news of, hugely popular games getting updates, Shell Games' new map for Among Us called Polis Point. It officially released last week. And if you go on the MetaQuest app, you look at the top selling charts. As of right now, see Among Us at number 3 on the top selling. No coincidence with this new app coming.
Of course.
The new map, yeah.
Speaking of young children.
Yeah, I figured roll right into it after the Roblox talk. But you know what? There's no game. I won't say no game. I'm exaggerating. But Among Us is one of the top games to play in VR with the right group. If you have the right group with it, it's guaranteed laughs, fun, just silly, good time.
The beauty is, though, if you don't have the right group, it exposes itself within 2 seconds when you join a server and you hear screaming and yelling. You just fucking, I'm out.
Yeah. And we had partook for a little bit in some live streams with some other content creators for the launch. And then there, some technical issues and one thing led to another. We did one round, though. We did do a round.
I got voted out first.
Dude, you have this thing with Among Us.
Every freaking time we ever play Among Us, and I could be in a group of people, and for some reason, I'm the one who comes across as suspect.
Well,
in this case, I deserved it. I found the dead body.
They asked you where you found it,
and I didn't
You're like,
have
I
my
don't know.
freaking map open.
I don't know. I found it
I
somewhere.
hadn't played in a while, so I was like, shit. I
feel
was
like
I think it was the reactor, and they're like, you
Get
should
outta
really
here.
know. I'm like, why should I know? It happened.
who else?
But
was
don't think
there?
I didn't instantly open my map.
Yeah.
After that, I was
Yeah,
like,
you were
this
playing
isn't
with-
happening again. I just did my tasks as a dead guy.
Why do I have the memory that that's not the first time that you've been
No, when
yelled at for not having a map locate or not knowing the location that something happened?
Yeah, because
It's not the number one focus on yours. But yeah, you always
no, I'm
get.
trying to get the assignments done, and if I see a body, I don't not say anything, which I suppose is always an option. But I didn't want to get caught running by one.
Mhm, why didn't you report it?
Yeah,
But there's this thing when every time we play, you're either the first to get murdered or voted off, even if it wasn't you.
yeah,
It's ruthless,
it's weird.
but it's still a fun
The
game.
curse of Among Us for me.
Yeah, or at least the first round it happens,
It's all good.
But bunch of fun. Huge props to Shell Games and Among Us for continuing to support and grow the VR edition.
I don't think it's the last of it either. So
I don't think it's going anywhere.
it's doing too well.
Great studio, great brand IP with Among Us. Obviously, it's making money. It's top 3 selling on the MetaQuest store. That's impressive, and it's not a new game. It's been
No,
out a good
since
amount of
launch,
time.
it's done fairly well. I mean, I don't know the exact numbers, of course, but I would speculate it's holding its own and will continue to do so for some time.
It sounded like, from what I read on the pop-up when I went into the game after it update, it sounds like you got some free hats as well as part of the update. Did you get that pop-up too?
I'm sure I did.
You probably just clicked right out of nope.
Just whatever. Yep. That's great. I don't change my shit very often, so
No.
even in like Quintar, I have the default. I don't have anything on my avatar other than it looked like the day it came in.
Yeah, people would probably think you're a bot because you just try to sit there still and everything.
Oh, that's part of my strategy.
But at this point, I think
Screw with people.
I've never seen a bot be completely plain, so you're almost better off pimping out your avatar now.
Hmm.
so that people think that you can even do like the wave, like the bot.
I usually just don't move. I
Yeah, you
don't
sit
move a
there
muscle.
stoic,
If I'm looking straight ahead, I just look straight ahead.
stoic.
You wave at me, I don't do shit. And then I throw you a quantask. What do they call it? Quantask kicking. Get
No.
ready to get your quantask kicked.
That's actually pretty funny. But no, huge props to Shell Games Among Us. I think that
Always
like you
doing
said,
well, no matter what they do.
yeah, one of the top.
I expect you to die.
Yeah, I saw some early access reviews that wasn't the full game. You know, the reviews sounded like it
Hurt
was a
my
little
feelings right now.
little snippet. Yeah, and same with Power Wash Sim.
Power Wash Sim hurts my feelings. I won't
What?
lie.
What? Your boys can't get them?
I won't lie. I'm a little sour on this one. That's my flat screen jam. I've loved it.
We talk about it weekly. How excited we are for I Expect You to Die and Power Wash Sim. You know, those
I
are
expect
probably
you to die is a little different level.
yeah. Although Power Wash Sim's up there with you too. I have a feeling I'm
Well,
gonna
for that
see you
for
online at 2
simulation
a.m.
shit,
and some shit. You know, just like dude.
my fear is I'm gonna go through everything too quick with Power Wash Sim.
I believe that, but let's see the amount of content they have, and that's the type of game I wouldn't be surprised if it's just like Among Us in a year. We're talking about more new content, and you know,
Well,
the
I'm
show
just
never
going by
stops.
flat screen, and it's like
You've blown through all the flat screen content.
mm-hmm. Yep.
What are you willing to pay for a Power Wash Sim VR, price wise, as a consumer? $30? Is that fair? 15? What's it go for flat screen? I don't even know.
I don't think I cared. I think I got it for less than 20 though, on sale. It was having one. I mean, because there's so many freaking sales.
It's the type of game I feel like 20 sounds like a fair.
20 is
price
a
tag.
great price.
Would you pay 25?
$24.99. If it had all the same amount of content and it took you as long, that's the other thing. I'm really curious how they're going to do this, because some of those things that you got to power wash, dude, they're huge. It takes a long friggin' time.
You're so excited. I'm excited.
Yeah, and some of them you put soap on because you want to loosen the dirt.
I won't lie.
Different heads, different attachments, and then upgrades. So it's like you get, this is like garbage entry level power washer all the way up to like the commercial model. And
as excited as I am to play the game,
jeez,
I'm excited to play party chat with you while you're playing it and hear you playing it.
It's gonna be so stupid. It's
gonna be like
look
a kid
like
in
I'm taking a
Christmas.
giant piss.
You're gonna get so immersed in it too. You're gonna be in character. You're gonna have some. I already know.
Mm-hmm.
That's gonna be a hit game. That's gonna be a hit freaking game. I'm convinced.
I want to get my dirty paws on it. Is what I want to do. It's killing me.
Definitely, my heart was a little broken. I saw.
I think I
those.
even posted something on their IG.
I know. I think you posted on your IG story like Power Wash Sim News ? Or something like that. I saw that the other day.
I was
Just
trying
randomly. I was like, what
trying
the
to
hell
get
is
him
this
to
guy?
respond.
Yeah. And instead, we see it on other spots.
Whatever.
Wah, 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 wah. But I'm
Someday.
convinced when that drops, it's going to be huge.
For the simulation games, yeah, because that's a whole area in itself. That's
Are you ready?
lawnmower sim is
Power Wash Sim VR
Mhm.
will sell headsets. I swear to God, there's going to be a group of people that hear.
If people knew, like,
I hear celebrities talk about this game.
if
It's huge.
I get it, but if other people knew like other sims were coming, like if lawnmower sim was gonna come, because that's another one, dude.
I'm sure it would sell headsets too.
Friggin' time cutting lawns and weed whacking. Love that freaking game.
The simulator, I guess, consumer, they're a dedicated fan base. You look at online, or not online, but you look at popular simulators like Train Simulator.
I have Train Sim 3. Just got it the other day.
You could spend thousands of dollars on that game, buying all the attachments, everything like that. You know, you ever see that pricing model in these? It's like to buy every type of car, every type of train.
That's a different one. Well, actually, I shouldn't say that, because the one that I just started playing, you got a bunch of different trains.
And you can
Microsoft Flight Sim is the
gold standard of that.
Grand master of
spend thousands.
of money exploitation.
Thousands.
It's that, but it's not worth it.
But you could, and people do, you know, and it's like, so it's a dedicated fan base. People are there. Might not be the biggest, but they'll spend money. and you start
I'm
you
just
start
gonna
having.
say there's nothing like that going on in Power Wash Sim or
Oh, not
Lawnmower
at all.
Sim.
Not, but
None
that's
at
part of
all.
the reason
They're
why it's so
you
popular.
upgrade from
Yeah, yeah. I was just talking about the
no
simulator
bleeding your money.
genre in general with some of like the bigger Steam ones. You go on Steam and you go to the add-on section of some of these simulator
Well,
games.
even a lot of like
How's Farming Sim with that stuff? I never played Farming Sim. Could you spend?
farming sims pretty. It could be pretty brutal. Yeah, you get a good amount of starting stuff.
Is it like
Dude,
unlock or is it
I
buy?
think since like 2014, if you look at my shit, I have one for like every year. It's stupid.
But is
And
it
plus other ones.
is it unlock or is it buy?
It's buy
Combo of
in game, but meaning like with money, you know, there's a shitload you can get already, but they also do have a fair amount of.
DLC and stuff.
But what I like to do is when I you buy the package deal, so like on one of the farming sims, it might be 22. Man, I have so much. It came with a huge bundle. So I've got all the starting equipment and then I think 3 or 4 other because they take companies. So if you're a tractor manufacturer and you've got, you know, the hay baler and the rake and all that and the plow, then you can sell your DLC as a bundle.
Well, you're not the simulator consumer that's going to buy every single aspect a game has. I think you're a good example of what I'm talking about. It's like simulator fans are willing to show up and spend money. Not every genre and it has that, you know.
If you save money by buying a bundle,
Yeah.
I do it.
But people go hard on them. So like I think if you get Power Wash Sim, you get Lawnmower Sim, Farming Sim,
Farming Sim's a game changer because there's almost no end to that.
you're
Where
going to
Power Wash and
Yeah,
Lawnmower, there's an end.
call me crazy. These games sell headsets.
Can't wait for
I'm
Farming
convinced
Sim, dude.
that they will. Convinced they will. But
I'll play that just in wireframe.
so on kind of other news, 2 games that have sim in the name of them, but aren't really simulator games like we were talking about. Job Sim and Vacation Sim, made by Alchemy Lab. Some of the most popular games on whatever headset they go on. MetaQuest, top selling, top rated. PSVR, Steam, they rock the house. And now those 2 games, Job Sim and Vacation Sim, are available now on the Pico headset.
Yay.
That's kind of cool. I'm guaranteed they're going to be top selling, top rated there.
Well, it's just good for Pico to have more variety too. So
Yeah, and
it's the one area they're weak in.
I've definitely felt bad. You know, we reviewed Job Sim and Vacation Sim, and we said we were going to do a trifecta. You know, a bunch of more games came out. Ghost of Tabor, you know, the VR. Things go quick, you know. And we've yet to review Cosmonius High, and we've actually had some Patreon members in our Patreon chat, in our channel for Discord for Patreon members in our Discord, which by the way you should go check out and join. You know, they're like, hey, where's that Cosmonius High review? You know, a week later, hey, you know, where's that Cosmonius High review? So, on the news of Alchemy Labs with Job Sim and Vacation Sim, we will be having a review of Cosmonius High actually coming out this week on Wednesday. So, if you're one of the people that's been wondering, when the hell are they going to do that? Wednesday. Stay tuned. You know, we're sorry about that. Shit happens.
I make no apologies. I won't.
Hey, when a great
Because
game...
to be honest with you, the reality is like, could we have technically reviewed it, you know, what was it, like 2 months ago?
Yeah.
Absolutely. But this has actually allowed me to fuck around more in it because there's so much, you know, and I won't go into grave detail, but there's a lot of shit you can do in there besides just plow through the game. So it's worked to my advantage. So I apologize for nothing.
I mean, obviously,
Let me play more.
We'll do a review on it Wednesday, but I mean, kind of to what you said, there's a story in it. There's voice acting and everything, but to me, it's a interactability sandbox. So yeah, I'm going to see what the developers coded in that they might expect people to do with different. Yeah, I'm pushing it to its limits, so I'm not doing it in 2 hours or 3 hours or anything like that. I'm wasting a lot of time. Sometimes I'd go like 30 minutes and be like, dude, go back to tasks. You need to do something. You're just sitting here watering stuff and growing and shrinking heads and stuff. But nonetheless, so Job Sim and Vacation Sim out on Pico. Our Cosmonius High review coming on Wednesday. Huge stuff. And then, something we referenced a couple weeks ago when the news of the Quest Plus first dropped, the first month's edition of Quest Plus, the new subscription service on MetaQuest that lets you pay monthly and you get two games per month on that subscription that you get to keep and play for the lifetime that you have your subscription active as well. First month was Pixel Ripped and Pistol Whipped. Those are a tongue twister to say back to back. This month, 2 new games and way less of a tongue twister to say them both. First, one of the most popular games on any headset store, Walkabout Mini Golf. And then also a game we love. It won our multiplayer game of the year last year, Mothergunship Forge.
Which I still play.
It's one of the, it's so good. One of the best roguelites I've ever played.
They still update it.
Yeah.
So it's still going. Same thing with Barbaria. Still updates.
Roguelites, I gotta, I either love them or I'm meh. And Mothergunship is one of those examples. I think it's the best one I played, especially with the co-op element to it. At any point, we can run in together on a run.
It's my favorite because there's so many different things available. If there was half, not even, well, the scale they're at now, I'd say if there was 10% items to play with, I wouldn't have the enjoyment. But I love the unpredictability of what you could get, the different choices you can make. I love the constant changes they make during the holiday seasons with putting little elf hats on things.
The themed updates, I'll say.
Yeah, they're always kind of releasing new weapons. So then it makes you want to go back in even more and be like, shit, I want to try. When Amelia had posted in our Discord about the potato gun, that day I went on and played, didn't get the potato gun, played again the next day and got the potato gun. And I'm like, all right,
How badass was the potato gun?
It's pretty fucking badass.
Yeah, dude, it's such a good game. Adult Legos. I'll never forget the first time we ever played it because we were looking, all right, what game do you want to review
Adult
this
Legos
week?
is called Legos.
Yeah, that's a good point. I'll say weapon Legos. How about
there
that?
you
Warfare Legos. But I'll never forget, we go in the first time, we were searching around, what do you want to review that week? We went into the store, searched by co-op. We're like, that one sounds interested, but we weren't sold off of the description, the store page. And your voice on party chat the first time we went in and they had you start like putting the piece together, you were like, oh, that's how this is. And I knew right then and there that game was special.
No, it's a hit.
Yeah, it's so
and they
much
get
fun.
both of those. I love how they're doing the Quest Plus too, because it's not like they're giving you, hey, here's a great game, here's an okay game. Because you could really mix it in and be like, who's hurting? Who do we need to like fluff up? But this is 2 games that need no fluff.
They're great.
Like you mentioned, Walkabout is typically on every platform that they're on's top 10.
Top rated and top selling.
Probably one of the most talked about and social examples of positive. Talk about Walkabout.
That was funny.
The Talk About Walkabout channel. The Walkabout Talk About channel.
I think that's Talkabout's what they call when like they go and do like when he played with Aspire Mike and when Lucas Martel played with Ryan Angle of Golf Plus. Yeah, they call it
a great
Talkabout.
combo. That was pretty cool to see go down.
Yeah, they call it Talkabouts. But it was just funny that it unintentionally came out of your mouth like that. I had to comment on it.
It felt natural. It's Walkabout's fault that I would say talk about.
But that we had talked about I am again.
Where I'm just picking on Canadians.
Yeah,
what are you talking about?
We had brought it up the other week too, that because they announced when the service first went live that was going to be the games this month as well. We're like, oh, Walkabout Mini Golf is going to make so much money off of DLCs this month if anybody doesn't own Walkabout and they grab this.
It's a home run for.
How do you not pick up DLCs? I mean,
I'd be curious how many people got Quest Plus that don't own Walkabout.
That was our original talk.
Mothergunship Forge, I totally get that. That could be 50-50. But Walkabout, it's like
I'd be shocked. I agree.
Who do you know that hasn't told you to get it? Yeah. Who do you know that has? How have you not heard about it? So it's almost to the point where it should come pre-installed on every headset. Like here's Walkabout, and then
go have fun.
Because it's. I mean, dude, So I would be curious to know how many people though it's going to be a first time experience. Though.
Yeah. Sometimes VR retention's a talking point, like, oh, there's a struggle with retention and everything. I have a theory. How many of those people that don't go back to playing VR, how many of them didn't play Walkabout Mini Golf? You know, I bet you if they came with that pre-installed and they had played Walkabout Mini Golf, there'd be a lot less headsets in closets. I'll tell you that.
I mean, I was victim of it way back when because I saw it and I saw it available and I was like, it's got fantastic reviews,
but it's mini golf.
How great can mini golf be? I mean, I said it in my own head, and then we finally were like, let's try it because we were hurting for shit we could play together, and then it was like amazing from the first hole. You're like, I totally get this now. This makes total sense, and it seems so ridiculous. So it is a tough sell to try to convince someone that like, look, one of the best games or first games you should buy is Walkabout Mini Golf. So I can understand somebody not owning it, but at this point in the game, it should literally just be part of the Quest package,
the repertoire, and they have such a smart marketing plan with the way they release courses, and also such a great business model financially. But what I mean by in a marketing stance is they're always relevant. You look at another game that's often talked about as one of the best experiences that you wouldn't expect in VR of 11 table tennis, but it's not always in the news. You know, it's just something that you hear in recommendations.
You don't even hear it that much anymore.
No, but it's a great game and people love it. Whereas Walkabout, because of the frequency of announcing the next course coming out, partnering with content creators for release date, they're always talked about. They're always in the news, whether it's the new course coming out or just a new course being announced.
I think they call their marketing department Markabout.
I don't even think it's a marketing department because it's just the product.
Oh, they have a marketing department.
Yeah. Well, when it sells itself so good, like Walkabout, is it even marketing or are you just talking about it? You know, I mean, but what I mean is their plan of always being in the news, or their frequency, of course, always has people talking about Walkabout. So you can have a really great game, but if there's not constantly new content coming to it, at some point, it's just not in the news cycle, right? Why are people going to talk about a game 3 years old with no new content unless it's on sale or something? But Walkabout, if 3 weeks go by and they're not in the news cycle, it's odd.
Well, they stay active on their social media platforms too. They don't take a lax approach to anything. And we know the aggressiveness of their release schedule. So they're not going anywhere for freaking years.
Yeah, and they could ride that, in my opinion, forever. Just improve the game as
2 years from now, people are going to buy Walkabout. How big do you think that, like, you're going to have to scroll? I'm just like, at the current rate of expansion that they do, I mean, dude, they're gonna have to change their whole menu overlay.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if
There's no way that
several versions of interface change. Even the way it is now isn't the way it was when it launched. With the slides.
Because just think of like how long it would take you to go from the first course all the way to the very last one 2 years from now.
If you want my real opinion,
holy Moses,
I think the things like that is probably what keeps Lucas Martel up at night more than any other aspect of the game, is thinking about what do we got to do in the future for growth.
Well, and we talked to Edward just about the
holding the balls,
the amount of balls that, you reach a point where you can't have any more. Just going to spill over.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, their growth is,
it's probably talked about a lot on the team. If I had to guess, it's probably something like, I think Edward even joked, it was like Y2. It's some things are like Y2K, it's like, but it's coming, so you're able to prevent it. But
no,
it's coming.
They're role models in the industry. 100%.
Yeah, for sure. Like I said, one of the best business models financially, but also for marketing and staying in the news cycle. It's really something for other studios to study. It's a formula and it works. It works really good. It's a good system. Let's take the moment real quick. No ad break this episode because we're doing a review episode Wednesday. That'll have the ads and the commercials. But I do want to give a shout out to the members on our on-air shout out tier of our Patreon. So if you're not a member of the Patreon and you want a shout out, You want your cat to have a shout out, a dog, your car. You want to say screw your neighbor. You want to shout out your favorite local business, whatever. You can go join the on-air shout out tier of our Patreon and go do that. Or you can just go do it and say, don't say anything. I just want to support you guys. But we also have some other tiers for just supporting, another tier for getting your name across the bottom of a video. And all of those tiers come with access to an exclusive room in our public Discord server. I always say public Discord server because you don't need to be on Patreon just to join it. But it just gives you access to a exclusive channel there. But all the tiers of our Patreon server come with that. And also, yeah, go join our Discord server. It's great time. Always new people joining. Great VR discussion. Great life discussion. Great moderator team with Shoes, Amelia, and King Canuck. They crush it with game meetups and adding new channels as the need comes with that.
And so many people joining.
Oh my goodness, with that
just
Quest
adds
headset.
to their I gave them a shout out too in Discord that, like, honestly, the mods do, because somebody was saying they really like the fact that it's like seems like an adult driven place that people can go. They don't have to worry about too many
Immaturity,
young folks. And,
No.
and at the end of the day, a lot of that is the mods. And when they're just ahead of the curve, when they see something coming, I know they'll get together in their chat, which I very rarely, say anything in, but I like seeing the process of, do you
how
think
they
we
came
should
to it.
do you think we should have a channel for this because of this, or whatever changes they choose to make? And it's always
Bringing in
beneficial.
bots.
It's always beneficial, and it's mutual to, in my head, without even saying anything. So I do give them all a lot of credit.
Yeah, that's a huge aspect of why the Discord community is what it is. So if you're looking for members of, or VR players to talk VR with, game meetups, talk about Ruff Talk VR, or anything in VR and life in general, Discord server is definitely the place to be.
And like Ghost of Tabor, go hit up King Canuck, and him and some other members will take you on a guided tour.
Really cool to hear. King Canuck and another one of the members in our Discord, I think his name's Brain Spam, if I'm remembering his username correctly. My brain just says brain, and then I stop reading from there. But I'm pretty sure it's Brain Spam. It's funny how the human brain does that. His name could be Brain Sean on the Discord, and I could just be reading spam, and that's just my brain jumbling things. But nonetheless, it was really cool to hear they didn't know each other before, and then they met each other in our Discord to play some Tabor, and now they play together daily.
Yeah, and they're a pretty dangerous team, but you can link up with them if you're new. You'll probably fare very well.
It sounds like their raids go better than ours. I mean, I hear sometimes of what they walk away with, and maybe we're just not bragging about all of ours, and they're only talking about the goods, never the bads. But I'm like, damn, they got a good system.
I know there's been some bads.
Yeah.
I know for sure.
Yeah,
but no, it's a cool place, man.
So yeah, definitely go join the Discord. Go join the Patreon. Subscribe to our YouTube. We're trying to grow that. Like us on social media, on Threads, Twitter, or should I say X, Instagram, Facebook, all that stuff. And also, huge shout out for the Patreon members on our on-air shout out tier. Amelia, Shoes, Crispy, rest in peace to your headset. Hopefully you get it back one day. Jake, Earth Witness, and a Sim. So thank you all. Help keep the lights on. It's full-time in commitment, and hopefully with the help of people like that, hopefully it's full-time in compensation one day too. So
just get ready for a crazy amount of content, though.
Well, then we also have our secondary podcast, a spin-off, the official Ghosts of Tabor podcast, Tabor Radio. So if you're a fan of Ghosts of Tabor, you haven't checked it out yet, go subscribe to that too. Tabor Radio, that's the name. Like I said, a new podcast that is the official Ghosts of Tabor podcast. So check that out. We're going to be having a bunch of episodes dropping in the future, meeting the team, talking about what's coming, what's recently come out, and just keeping you up to date on all things Ghosts of Tabor. That way, we don't switch this whole podcast to Ghosts of Tabor, which very easily could happen with the amount we play it. So it's good to have a dedicated feed just for that. So again, thank you. Huge props to those Patreon members, and also everybody that just engages, listens, to each episode, and helps make our Discord community what it is. So a couple of other things to talk about today. Meta rolled out for developers some new anti-privacy tools to help, not anti-privacy, anti-piracy tools to combat, people stealing your games with an eye patch and everything like that. So it's cool to see, there's like hardware bans, so you could ban somebody by their hardware as well, so they can't just make a new account so easy.
Just have to buy a whole new headset.
Some improving their authentication checks. Obviously, they existed before. Made it a little bit hard to pirate games, from my knowledge. Not something I'm at all interested in. I'm much more about supporting the very small and sometimes struggling VR industry. I don't need to be stealing games.
But you know how it is.
Yeah, there's always somebody. I always, to try to like morally justify things to myself, I always like to think it's some little kid that would not be able to afford the game anyway.
No,
of course, that's not the reality.
it is
but
not.
if you can afford the game, just buy it. Especially Meta has such a great refund policy, which I don't recommend abusing either. But it's like, dude, you can get a refund if it's a bad game. Why are you stealing it? But nonetheless,
Doesn't matter what you say.
it's cool to see that Meta on the end for developers have helped improve the software to prevent such things.
To protect it.
Yeah. Dude, people that do that and play online games too, that's fucking ballsy.
Mm-hmm. People do.
Yeah, that's ballsy.
Just like using hacks in games.
Yeah.
It's like,
Man, these studios in VR though, they're not Activision, they're not
but that's
EA.
not how people who do that
I
shit
know,
think.
I
Because
know.
let's be honest, we've all been there, right? Shit, way back when. Remember Napster?
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
People were obsessed with LimeWire.
it's
Back
like
in the day.
each one changed, and then people had to change the methods to, but it never stopped anybody. And there was no way Napster was all kids. That was adults downloading all the music and shit.
Yeah, Napster was so new too. I feel like maybe you could have some dumb ignorance of like, oh, I didn't think.
Then there was pre-Napster too.
Oh yeah, no doubt. And then
Yeah.
remember LimeWire,
Mhm.
so it's always existed. It's
Dude,
always a problem.
I remember the Commodore 64. We would, and nobody ever thought of it as anything bad, but you could just copy games and give them to your friends and shit.
I
Put
used
them
to
on
see-
a freaking floppy.
I remember back in middle school, high school, people used to have hacked consoles
Mm-hmm.
where they would, they could like load up 200 games onto Xboxes
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
They'd
So
sell it for like, yeah.
yeah, it's always been a problem.
But
and
that
it's
was
always
a-
existed. It always will exist.
With the exception of loading on the games, the mod though, to like be able to have a bigger hard drive at the time, that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But I almost came close to buying a modded.
Well, that's kind of actually
Modded
one of the
console.
cool things about an Android based headset like the Quest. It's like you plug that thing into SideQuest, you have full people. You can increase your resolution. Like you can go pretty deep into it. So it's like because when
I'd be
something's
scared.
when something's Android based, like they can lock it pretty easy on the front end of the software. But side loading didn't come out with the Quest. Side loading is what people have always done on Android devices. It's how you it's something you do with Android devices, So
Yep.
I actually think that's something that makes the Quest cool. It's like you don't need to even jailbreak it and stuff to get into those features.
Jailbreak, that was the popular
Yes,
word. Yeah.
it was slipping my mind too. I didn't want to start guessing until it was in my brain either.
Yep. No, I remember that.
Mod hack, but no, jailbreak was the term we were looking for. But it's cool that you don't even have to do that. You don't need to jailbreak a Quest 2. You just plug that
already
shit in.
open.
Yeah, you just plug that shit into side quest. You're good to go. So that,
But it is, in a serious note, it is good to see that they're allowing developers to protect their property better.
Absolutely.
I mean, it won't stop the
mass
full scale or the, but honestly, I wouldn't even think to try to get a,
Not in VR. Look, stealing and thievery is wrong, but I tend to look at somebody morally different who stole from Walmart than stole from a mom and pop, if that makes sense. And I consider a lot of VR studios much more mom and pop. Again, stealing is wrong in any way.
oh yeah, I would call a thief a thief.
A thief. Yeah, I'm not morally justifying anything, but I just can't stress enough. Like these studios aren't EA, Activision, rolling in billions with investors. A lot of these are like still
So you're
working
saying
jobs.
they deserve to be stolen from?
Who,
I'm
the
just
big
kidding.
boys? No,
Yeah,
no. But
like-
like you're stealing from somebody that's trying to make this a living and can't even pay
Yeah.
their bills from this yet.
I would
it's
think
it's
EA's
different.
trying to keep the lights on.
I'm sure. Yeah, I know.
It just
it's-
feels better stealing from a
That's not what I
billionaire.
mean either. It's a You know what I'm trying to say too. You're just being a dick.
I'm just trolling. I'm
It's
totally trolling.
yeah. And somebody might say, "Oh, well, look at Meta. Meta's such a." But yeah, look, they get 30% of software sales on the games and stuff. But again, a lot of these developers are are struggling and they're selling their game for $10. $10 and you're gonna go pirate it? Come on, man.
Yeah.
But none,
What's good is I haven't heard a lot about Quest 2 pirating being
no,
a hot thing right now.
I think I don't even know about it. I just think that it's like the community in general seems to be much more of like support developers than other aspects of or
For
other
now,
areas
will
of gaming
come.
I've seen. Yeah, that's true.
Sadly.
But that was cool to see those features roll
Yeah,
out.
little protection doesn't hurt.
I've never looked too deep into that. I hope that's not a big issue for developers, but it's cool that
Maybe it's a preventative for
I
the
wouldn't be
future
surprised.
more than a current.
There's a motto I live my life by that the best solution is prevention. You know, if you don't ever let the issue happen, you're never scrambling to put out fires. Just don't let the fire start. So that might be that. And you know, the Apple Vision Pro, you know, the AVP, not Alien versus Predator, Apple Vision Pro, very anticipated, and the applications for developer dev kits have officially opened. And I saw some news articles floating like, oh my goodness, these requirements for dev kit are so outrageous. You know, look at what Apple is requiring. And I'm not the Apple fanboy. I mean, I think anybody listening to this podcast would be much more quick to call me a Meta fanboy than an Apple fanboy. But the requirements were like, you know, it's got to be locked. There's got to be a camera pointed at it, yada, yada. It's got to be in a secure location. I think they had to be in a box approved by them in terms of like, you know, security capabilities. And I saw these new
Needs to be in a nice walnut.
Yeah, needs to be leather. I saw all these. I saw all these people. You know, oh my goodness, that's so crazy. But then, you know, the more experienced people chimed in and goes, actually, that's how every dev kit that's ever gone out. That's just the standard operating procedure. So don't be fooled by any articles you might see saying that the requirements are outrageous. It's just kind of industry standard. But the applications have officially opened. So it's pretty cool. You know, we're going to see the ball starting to roll. At least it's going to be in people's hands before it
Candy
launches.
Crush is under development.
No doubt. Candy Crush. What's another big one? Like Temple Run. What's all those ones?
Dude, what a travesty if gaming apps do better for the headset than people using it for professional purposes.
Yeah, probably will. Yeah.
Absolute
Productivity.
travesty.
I think
$4,000 for a glorified phone.
I think we're going to see simple gaming like Candy Crush and cinematic movies and digital watching be the predominant use case for users that actually buy it over productivity. At least to start. Yeah, I think that's the way it'll go.
It's not even marketed for.
But let's see. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm just guessing. But you know, cool to see the dev kits officially opened and the ball is rolling. And then some news that actually came out last week, but skipped over it last week. Sorry, went a little fast. You know, there was a hour 40 episode as is. You know, I think we could have saved it for this week anyway. But on the Meta Quest Pro, they rolled out new software update that brings simultaneous hand tracking and controller, meaning that you can use a controller in one hand and hand tracking in the other, which I hope something as, you know, it might not seem that big, but there's been the times that I've been using my headset that I do actually wish it wasn't making me go from all or the other. And I hope that feature exists on the Quest 3, just a very small like quality of life thing, but when you need it, it's frustrating that you can't do it. So it's cool to see it exist now only on the Pro. You know, I lean towards that means that we'll see it on the Quest 3.
Mm-hmm.
But just a small little software improvement that I actually thought was pretty cool. I'm a big fan of hand tracking and any improvements that go towards it. So to see a simultaneous controller and hand tracking, that was pretty freaking cool. So to wrap things up, there's one more thing I got to give a huge shout out to, a game that we love. We've talked with the developers. We're skeptical of their business model, but you know what? They've continued to prove us wrong. They've stayed fresh in the news, constantly updating, hustling. It's Gods of Gravity. They've rolled out new avatars, for one. That's cool. They're a little bit more in depth, nothing like meta avatars or anything like that, but a little bit more than a head. Now there's like a body with that same artwork design. And also, they're launching their second Galactic War.
Yay.
Or at least they're a new Galactic War, unless there's a second one I missed, and this is the third, but I'm pretty sure it's the second. But they're starting a new Galactic War and also going to be rolling out with 2 new factions. So I mean, they're constantly going.
Well, between what they keep adding to it and the community adding to it with the creation of, you can build your own map, and if it's approved, they'll put it on a searchable database. It's like, thing is huge.
Hmm.
There's never an inability to find something new to play.
And it's a very fun,
It's a great
simple game. Not simple in terms of strategy. There's a lot of strategy goes into it, but you're not going to be sweating playing it.
game.
It's actually nice for the summertime. Not everybody's got the best AC system, so something I read a lot. Like VR is a little tougher in the summer for me, depending on where you live in. Games like Cubism, like Gods of Gravity.
Playing it in my garage in Arizona sucks.
Yeah, you don't want to be playing Thrill the Fight without an AC in August or anything like that. So, I
Unless you
love
want a heat stroke.
I love Gods of Gravity too. When like waiting for a game to update, go in there, bang out a 10-15 minute match. I love facing the AI in it. I never really get sick of the AI. I won't lie to you. So I mean, great game. They've constantly innovated. They've stayed up and fresh on it. So huge props to them. If you haven't played Gods of Gravity yet, it's free. Go check it out. Why not? You'll probably end up buying one of the upgrade editions. That's what happened to us. So that's pretty much it I want to talk about on news. There's been a plethora of games to come out recently. We haven't had a chance to review every single one, but games like Battle Bows, that I've heard people describe that as a Elven Assassin, the Archer game. It's like very similar to that. It's single player, it's co-op, so I really want to check that one out. It looks a lot of fun. We loved Elven Assassin. This one, man, I've been dying for a new co-op game. There's that Dungeons of Eternity game that's coming out soon. That's like procedurally generated dungeon crawler, but it ain't out yet, so I'm itching for it. And then besides Battle Bows, there was also I think it's called Dark Word Battle Eternity, something like that, and it's a single player and co-op RPG. It's like, how have I not heard of this yet? There's been so much coming out, so much news, so I definitely think I need to sit down. Survival Nation came out like a month and a half
I really
ago.
want to play that.
Still want to play it. So yeah, I really need to sit down and chip away at some of these great releases. Dude, a cooperative, it says it's an endless RPG. What's that mean? Let's go. Let's go. I need to go check this out. Survival Nation looks so much fun. Battle Bows just looks like a fun game to laugh with you in co-op. I've been itching for more co-op games. Of course, we have Ghost of Tabor, which is we play cooperative and it never gets old. But just I love going into games and you read the genre, you read the play styles, you see co-op, single player, multiplayer co-op. I'm like, I gotta get it, I gotta try it. So some great games that have come out we haven't reviewed yet, but I definitely want to go check out. If you haven't taken the action yet, like I said, go check out our Patreon, our Discord, subscribe on YouTube. Comment, like, all that stuff, high five, whatever. And then, stay tuned for Wednesday's episode reviewing Cosmonious High, finally. And then let's see what else we have in store coming up soon. Anything else you wanna touch on?
No, that about covers it for a
No.
week.
Yeah, for a week, we'll be talking very soon more about our showcase coming in February, so don't forget about that. We have our end of the year award show. This episode drops on July 31st, which means you have one more day to vote for us and help nominate us to get us to the final slate.
It's also your last day to enter to win the Quest 2.
That too.
If you're hearing this after that, it's over.
But and also you've missed your chance to, go help nominate us to get to the final slate of this year's annual People's Choice Podcast Awards, where we're nominated for first the Adam Curry People's Choice Award. And then also, more importantly, our category of podcast, leisure, we're nominated for the best leisure podcast. But it's up to you, the listener, who enjoy us, to go we're nominated, but we need votes from people to make it to the final slate. So this is the last day. If you haven't yet, be kind in your heart to go vote for us. And then hopefully we have some news about actually winning this year. Last year we made it to the final slate, but didn't walk away the winner. But 2023, it's a fresh year, so let's see. And then other than that, like I said, subscribe, 5 stars. Stay tuned for Wednesday. Drive safe. Enjoy the rest of your day. brush your teeth, look both ways before you cross the street, all that stuff. Don't look at your phone too much before bed. And I guess check you out Wednesday. Ciao, ciao.